2, 1.
Hey guys, welcome back to King Chloe's channel.
There was my intro. That was my little sister and a friend. Today is going to be a books to get you out of a reading slump. Yay! I feel like a lot of people would benefit from this video. I know I would, and yeah, I don't have too many books here. I don't want to overwhelm you guys, but I feel like the best books to get you out of a book slump or a reading slump are starts of series, like the first book of a series, because you just automatically know if you love that one, you're gonna love the next ones, and then you just kind of get in that pattern, the rhythm of reading again, which I feel like is really good. And then I also think that ones that are just like really chill, if that's the vibe. Like sometimes I get in a reading slump when my like emotional vibe is just super wrecked and I'm just like I feel like I can't read, or I don't have the emotional capacity to take on someone else's world. So I feel like really lighthearted, easy books are good for when it's that kind of reading slump. But if you just like haven't read a book that you love in a while, I feel like series are really good to get you out. So I've got 9 books here, 9 books that could maybe help you guys get out of a reading slump. I know it's summertime. That's like the worst time in my opinion to be in a reading slump because you have so much time on your hands. It's just fun to read. Like it's a great, like by the pool, if you're at the beach. If you just want to get outside, you could just read outside. So I hope that these help you out, and I hope that you love them because a lot of these are my favorite books. Not my favorite, but books that I've liked and I've read. First off, I have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and I feel like this one is really good to get you out of reading slump if you're looking for a fantasy. I also do have books from a bunch of different genres. Sometimes it helps to get like back in your comfort genre if you've been like exploring. Anyway, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black is the beginning of a trilogy, and I did read the whole trilogy and I loved it. It's young adult fantasy, romantasy. It's about June and her siblings. They are humans living in the fairy court, and it is her oldest sister is half fae, half human, and then her and her younger sister are full human, so they really don't fit in this fairy world. Jude is our female main character, and she really wants to be a part of the fae world, but the fae people are like super mean, like terrifyingly mean at the beginning of this book, and she ends up getting into some trouble with the prince, hence the Cruel Prince, who is not super nice. He does some pretty messed up stuff. It's not cool. This first book, I guess I wouldn't call it a romance. A lot of people get upset when they go into this thinking it's romance. There's not a lot of stuff. There's some like little parts where you're like, oh, you feel the tension between Jude and Carden is the prince's name, but there's nothing solid. There's no solid romance in this book. So if you're feeling like a romance, maybe not, but just like fantasy, this was a really fun world to get into and really easy for me. This was like I think this was the first fantasy I'd ever read. So yeah, there's that one, Cruel Prince by Holly Black. Another fantasy I have, this is definitely like more romantic-y. It's got a lot of romance in it. I recently read this, Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. And I don't know what it is about this book, but I was obsessed throughout the whole thing. Just their relationship, you get those little sparks and you get enough of them that it like feeds your soul through the book to get through like all the heavy plot of like fighting and war and all the romance stuff. But once Kazi and Jace get together and start going at it together, the whole book is just so satisfying. So, and then there is Vow of Thieves, which is the second book, and if you love this one, you're already gonna want to read the second one, and then you're out of your reading slump. Boom. I guess I'm just doing all the like fantasy books together because that's just how this stack added up. The next book I have is A Court of Thorns and Roses by... What did I just say? Next book I have is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. You know this book. Everyone knows this book. There are like, I think 5 books in the series. I think there's gonna be a 6th too, I'm not sure. So you got a lot to fuel you if you get obsessed with this world like I did, and it's just amazing. It's about Feyre, who is a human, and the fairy court is split with like humans at the bottom and then all the fae realms on the top of this island. And Feyre kills a wolf one night who turned out to be fae, and then she gets in trouble, and then Tamlin, the ruler of the spring court, comes and collects her and is like, you shouldn't have done that. The whole rule is like they have to like take her as prisoner kind of, and then they end up falling in love. Lots of other stuff happens. It's just crazy. This book actually was insane. This book, so much happens in this little, all these pages, and it's just, it kept you going, and you want to read the second one for sure. So there is this second recommendation, A Court of Thorns and Roses. You guys all know, and you guys will all love. And then this one isn't really fantasy. I guess it's what is dystopian. This is Shatter Me. I personally liked this book, but I was a little confused at the end. However, once you get into the second book, that's where like I really felt fuel to go through the series, and that's also super helpful. But this one for sure, just reading it on its own, even if you're not thinking about going through the whole Shatter Me series, had a lot within it, and it was very suspenseful, and it made me want to keep reading this book. So if you're having problems like just sitting through and getting through one whole book, this is the one. I would definitely recommend It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. First of all, it's just an amazing summer book, summer romance book, and it's also just super light. But Piper and Brendan are just such a fun, cute couple. All the little dates and romantic things that happen in this book are super fun. And then there's also a second book that's kind of tied to this one, interconnected, about her sister and Brendan's best friend. And I really like both those characters in this book, so if you like this book, you'll love the next book as well, and then you just get on a roll. I've also got Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Honestly, any of Lynn Painter's books I feel like would definitely get you out of a reading slump because they're just so fun. I know I keep saying that, but it's just a fun book. This one is about Liz and Wes, and it's like a high school romance where she is trying to get another guy jealous, but Wes and her like crush are good friends, and Wes is like her into getting to know her crush and getting in her crush's like line of view. So she kind of uses Wes in this book, but you know, you can infer what things happen after that. And I remember really liking this. It also has a lot of like movie quotes. It has movie quotes at the beginning of every chapter. And I thought that was super fun because I do love like rom-com movies, and it was just fun being like reminded of all of them. And it's just cute. I've got The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. You guys all know and love. This is a great one to pick up as well because season 2 of this series on Amazon Prime is coming out July 14th or July 15th, and it's a great show. And then you can have read the book and you know the little tie-ins. And if you want, what even was that? If you want, you can read the second one before the second season, and then read the third if you just can't wait for more episodes, and then you'll already know. But it's still like, I'm still gonna watch the show even though I've read the book, obviously. It's one of those shows where like the book, I think the show is better than the books, but the books are amazing. And it's just got all the summer vibes, you know, everyone's raving on TikTok right now about The Summer I Turned Pretty, like summer vibes, and you might as well read the books, you know what everyone's talking about. And like I said, again, it's the beginning of a series, so you're just gonna tumble down in that spiral of this world and have lots of options to read. And then I've got 2 more romance recommendations, but they're on my Kindle, which I'm gonna put like their covers over here. But I really recommend the Brutal Birthright series. And the first one is called Brutal Prince. I am obsessed with that series. I have almost read every single book. I've got one more. There's just so many, and they're very similar, every book. So once you know that you like the style of the first one, you like how the characters, you like the sequence that it followed, you know you're gonna love the rest of them. At least that's my experience. And then you just have so many options. And the first one is about Callum and Ada, and it's 2 like mafia families kind of connecting. It's a forced marriage and they hate each other at first, but I'll let you guys imagine what happens after that. The next one on my Kindle is actually not a romance. I messed it up in my brain, but it is a thriller book, The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I just read this a couple days ago. I don't usually read thrillers, but it was an amazing book and I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. It's about a girl, I can't really remember her name because I feel like when it's a thriller, I'm not really like character driven, it's more about the plot. But she moves in with a super rich family. They're kind of like, the mom who hired her is giving really weird vibes. Hi! My dog's tail. The girl who hired her is giving really weird vibes, and she stays in like this attic where the window is painted shut and the door locks from the outside. It's super creepy. Really suggest that read if you're looking for a thriller. And then the next book I have, I don't know what to call this. I really don't, but it's the Mind series, and this is by St. Abbey. They have all of these books on Kindle. This is a bind up of 5 books. They're each like 200 pages though. Maybe some of them are probably even less than that, like 100. They are all amazing. They all end on a cliffhanger, except for obviously the last one. It'll just blow your mind. It'll blow your mind. I stayed up into the late hours of the night every time that I read one of these, and that just shows how much I loved it, especially if you're in a reading slump. This will get you out. Like, this is like the one series I can guarantee, if you're not too turned off by it, because it's about a serial killer and the detective searching for her. If you're not too turned off by that, I guarantee you this will get you out of your reading slump. But that was really dramatic. I didn't mean to do that. Check the trigger warnings, please, because this has some pretty messed up stuff in it. So that's important, but it is literally So good. This I would call like a mystery romance. There's a little bit of romance. It's really not a romance. I would call this a mystery. It's a young adult mystery about Avery Grahams and this really rich guy that she has no idea who he is dies, and he leaves all of his money and his house to her if she can stay living in his house for a year, and then she gets all the money, all the inheritance. Tobias is the man who dies, and he has 3 grandsons. He has like multiple of his own children, and everyone's like, why the heck did Avery Grahams get all of the money that should be left to his family? And so this book's trying to figure out that mystery. She's getting to know the family and all their weird little stuff. So this one is the first book in a trilogy. They're all amazing. They're all quick chapters. Like every chapter is only like 3 pages, 2 pages. So if that is something that you like, short chapters, this book has got it. Absolutely. That I think is all the books that I would recommend for you guys to try to get yourselves out of a book slump. Book slumps suck, I know. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope that one of these books will get you guys out of your book slump, your reading slump. I know that they suck, but you know, let's all just stay positive, find a new book that we will probably love, or maybe even a new series. Don't worry, because I saw you guys in my comments. You guys want a reading vlog. It's coming next week. So just stay tuned. I already started filming it. Don't forget to like and subscribe and leave a comment. Comment if you've read any of these books to help out your fellow people. Give them recommendations. Let's all help each other in the comments. Everyone will never be in a book reading slump again if you guys go check the comments, because I know you guys are gonna leave some recs down there and give you guys his advice. I honestly don't have any advice of my own. You just have to find a new book that you love. So I hope that this helped, and I hope you guys have a lovely June.